There is a supernatural world that surrounds us. Sometimes it manifests to people like you and me. You'll hear stories about this, so much more, right here on Supernatural Confrontations. Lorenzo returns to the show, and right off the bat, we have different worldviews. That's okay. We can discuss our worldviews in a friendly fashion, because it's important to see that there are many people on this planet that don't hold to a born-again, spirit-filled Christian paradigm like I do, and it's okay. We can talk about the differences in a amicable way to everyone. So we'll get into that, but first a word from our trusted sponsor. Folks, there seems to be bad turbulence ahead. The economy is a minefield right now, ready to detonate and destroy the wealth and dreams of the unprepared. Bank failures, de-dollarization, debt, but amidst the chaos, a beacon of hope emerges. Kevin Sorbo, screen legend Hercules, Christian actor, and outspoken activist for the people. With his economic crisis toolkit, crafted in a partnership with the experts at Noble Gold, Sorbo is now on a mission to help everyday Americans navigate the coming nightmare, the coming financial nightmare. This shock-proof toolkit is your compass through the turmoil, with recession-proof strategies, inflation-busting techniques, and opportunity-seizing skills to help you not just survive, but thrive in the bedlam. The crisis threatens to derail your financial future, but you can now stay on track and emerge stronger than ever. And the best part? The shield of knowledge is yours, absolutely free. Folks, don't become another casualty. Enlist in Sorbo's Wealth Warrior ranks today and arm yourself with the tools and tactics you need to protect your hard-earned assets. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com, noblegoldinvestments.com, and sign up for the Economic Crisis Toolkit. Lorenzo, thanks for joining us again. We have, as I said in the open, we have different worldviews, and yet we can come together and discuss what's going on. We have some points of commonality, which are great. What would you like to talk about? Where do you want to go today?
Well, I would like to talk about, we talked about the gatekeepers of ascension before. We promised people part 2. But, I kind of want to do that, and I kind of want to segue into something we chatted about before we got on the air. Love and evil, good and bad, how you can grow in a happy life, and how you can make yourself sacrosanct from evil, right? I think in some ways, like I said, the commonality of what we're doing in your audience is something I would like to approach. Because I know a lot of people have told me when I said I'm born again, they disagreed with how I said I was born again. I went through that. How I follow love, a few people agreed with it and some didn't. But I think the bottom line in everyone's life is to find their heart, their center, their true path, their love for humanity, their love for the planet. You could call it the love for Jesus, for God, if you like, the love for spirit, the love for being alive, their love for health, happy community, all of those amazing things. And for me, I see that as a thread that anyone with an open heart, and a good conscience and a moral compass can follow and become and be. And for me, that is how I found myself born again. I found myself on the side of listening to evil. I was raised as a horrible person, chasing money, selfish, narcissistic, et cetera, and it didn't, my life crashed because of that, right? I ended up, not happy, not healthy, not free, and I had to find my own path, something back towards, and it's why I chose the work I've done at the new Agora, the new Now video channel, and something I mentioned to you before we got on, Lost Soulmate Recovery Services. For me, I think finding your soulmate, whether that's a sexual partner or the best of friends, or just, you could have a soul group if you like, a community, it's and I don't want to sound new agey here. I can only talk from my own experience. Finding my own partner in life, I've been married for about 10 years, has helped me to grow up into the kind of man I am today through honesty and self-reflection and being able to become religious in my way, to relate to the world and to understand how things can work best for myself and the people I know and love.
Yeah, let me address a couple of points here because it's really interesting. One of the things that I find interesting about the relationship in a marriage, like you talked about 10 years being married, my wife and I have been married for 40 years. You know, there's certain points of commonality in that 40-year marriage. There's no doubt about it. There's two children and ups and downs and just going through life together. So like I was saying, you know, that 40 years is irreplaceable. I only have 70, I'm 73 now, maybe another 10 years. If I'm lucky, maybe another 20 years. And I'm not about to jump horses midstream. I just won't do that. But you said something which sort of piqued my interest. About being a good person, and I respect that in you. I mean, you have ideals. You have you want to be a good person, and I understand that. What the difference here would be that, from my point of view, and this is biblical, when it says, you know, there are no good people, and I know that every single day I think things. I don't act on them. I don't bring them into fruition, but I will think the things, and I have to check myself. I have to go, no, I'm going to pray for that guy that just cut me off on the freeway. Now, I deserve, you know, to give him the middle finger salute. Not that I would do that. But I mean, okay, this guy's a total jerk. But that's not what I'm called to do. I'm called to, but that's my flesh. That's what, you know, in my flesh as a human being, that's what I want to do. Give the guy the middle finger salute, even though I'm a born-again spirit-filled Christian. I don't do that, but the thought is there, but I don't act on it. I don't act on it. So in Christian terms, we would say that, you know, and I've been doing this for 44 years as a born-again spirit-filled Christian, I'm still dragging the old man around with me. I've just learned to control him. I've just learned to go, no, not going there.
See, it's amazing that we are actually, you know, not with the words, maybe not with the agreement to the release, but we have so much in common. It's crazy. It's like I find that I keep trying to change, but I can't change. I'm the same as you. The old person's been following me. I still get angry. I still want to yell. I still want to call people names, like all of those things. I just don't do it anymore because my heart is open. So when I do that, it doesn't feel good to me. Right? It doesn't feel like that's why I'm here. Or like why do I want to be like let those without sin throw the first stone. Let's go a little biblical, right? I know I've been bad. I know I've been horrible. I've done all kinds of nasty things in my life, even if it's just to myself, let's say, by not following my heart, my own path. You know, we'll talk that. So how can I possibly judge another? You know, how can I possibly see how someone else should grow when I've had my own challenge? Like I'm 60 now, right? So, you know, you and I are almost of an age, let's say 13 years is not that big a difference. My wife is 16 years younger than me. And, you know, we get along very, very well, you know, and you know, she's from Japanese, I'm here, you know, with different worlds. And together I've learned to bridge male, female, East and West, even generations, if you like, right? From 46 to 60 or 44, she's 44 now to 60. And to see how we can put that together to grow in love and to offer that to the world. I mean, I told you before we got on a little bit, I was a matchmaker in my 30s. You know, I had In Love Unlimited, right? And I've done a whole bunch of what you've mentioned. Like I've done a lot of soul searching since you and I chatted. I must have talked to 500, literally, of your viewers, emails, comments, things like that. It really helped me, gave me such an epiphany. I go, isn't it interesting? You know, all the people that have so much passion for a good life, all passion for making heaven on earth, if you like, right? I would say maybe that's a commonality we have. And I said, how did you do it? How did I do it? I did it with a significant other. I did it with even a friend that I've known since I was 16 for 40 or 50 years. You know, Lost Soulmate Recovery Services. I started out with a few people. That's what we call it. You know, we launched it a few, like I'll send you the link, please, lostsm.com, very easy for people to find. And what I found is above and beyond anything I've done, when I'm working with my wife, when I'm working with my significant other, when I'm working with a close friend even, you know, this is when I want to bring out the best of who I am, you know, jettison the worst of what I've been, and then grow into something that can help her, help children if you have them. I don't have any, but, you know, lots of people do. Help my family, help my community, help. And by family, I just mean anybody that wants to grow happy, healthy, loving lives with me. You must have a huge community over there and a huge family that's beyond your biological, family, I would guess.
Yeah, we have you know, a lot of people on YouTube, and of course when we go to conferences and things, and you know, we meet and greet folks, and the difference between the worldviews that I see is that, my whole life hangs on this guy right here. Everything hangs on Jesus, because without being born again and spirit filled, I couldn't do what I'm doing now. I mean, there's just no way. And it's not what people don't understand. It's when he begins to speak, when the Spirit of the living God comes into a man or a woman, and the Bible tells us that the Spirit of the living God will lead us in all truth and all things. And that's what's happened for 44 years with me. I mean, it's this, and it's not religion. It's not, because there's so many different denominations and all this, all around the man on the shroud, which I call God's calling card, by the way. But, when it happened to me 44 years ago, my life was, I was just basically upset. Everything just exploded. And, and that's been ongoing for 44 years. So, and I realize, see, I don't know I can hear your heart. I don't know where you are with him. But if he is who he says he is, and that's why this is the Shroud of Turin. I don't know whether you know this or not.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay.
And I've read all those books.
Yeah, this is the burial. This is the burial cloth. There's no other artifact.
It says paid in full on the back. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, there's no other artifact like it. And the whole point, and people don't understand, and I'll just give you the good news message in like less than 3 minutes. All that's required is believe on him who was sent, which is him, which is Yeshua, Jesus, and realize that hanging, when he was on the cross, he paid the price in full, paid in full. That's it. When we confess that.
Question?
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Because this is interesting. Like, you're holding up Jesus. I just want to hold up a little heart my wife made. It's an organite heart. It helps my heart. Like, when you went from being, let's say, before you were born again, I guess 44 years ago.
44 years ago.
About 44 years ago, to who you are now. How did you switch? What did you do? Besides, I understand you believe in Jesus. That's all good. Yeah, I don't want to argue anything of that sort with anybody. It's like not my place. But, did you switch perhaps from a head perspective to a heart perspective? Like, how did you how did you change?
The change happened when I began to plumb the depths of the Word, the Bible. And I didn't understand a lot of it.
Right. But what switched in you?
Well, what switched in me was all of a sudden my spirit man. That's why people say born again. So my spirit man, not my soul, not my body, but my spirit was hooked in with him finally. So there was this the spirit. What happened? The miracle of being a born again, spirit-filled Christian is when we ask, and that's all it is. You ask, like I just said, and then the Spirit of the living God comes into that man or woman, and everything begins to change.
I agree. You open up to the funny thing is I'm like it's fascinating to me how we've been so similar in so many ways, right? Where I hit rock bottom, I was lost, but now I'm found, that old thing. Then I asked for the world, the spirit, whatever. I didn't call it, I didn't give it a name, whatever. But I said, please come and help me. Please show me what I need to see. As I was at a loss for monetary, physical, loving, even with my wife, a few months ago, and I said, what do I need to do? What do I need to share? Where do I need to go to grow into the kind of man I've always wanted to be in this life? Whether I live another 30 years or 100 years, it's not a long time. You live 10, 20 more, 50. If you live, to 186, it's such a short life. Like, what is your legacy, right? Everybody, I think, wants to leave a loving legacy. I'm guessing everyone wants to look at L.A. or Lorenzo and go, wow, that was a good man. That was a loving man. He helped his community. He helped however many followers you have, to the best of all lives, through the challenges, the demons, the devils, the aliens, which is something I still would like to talk to you about on another. I'm still a little confused on the difference between demons, devils, and aliens. And
that might be another show. That might be another show, Lorenzo.
Yeah, and how they maybe give, because I would say their whole job is to take people away from, let's say, Jesus, if you like. Or let's say, demons, devils, and aliens. Wouldn't that be what you would say? Their particular main, goal is?
Their goal is deception. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
Their goal is deception. And when you talk to people that are immersed in it, they always say that, these are extraterrestrial entities. That's our latest film.
Right.
What is the truth? Look at the huge UFO there. But, I've been a ufologist for decades. I saw my first when I was 12 years old. The question we have to ask ourselves And this is what, going back to the shroud, I call it God's calling card. The shroud, 14 feet long, 3.5 feet wide. There's no other image like it on the planet. Scientists have never been able to duplicate it. So
Sure.
what people don't understand is, and the dragon didn't understand this, that everything goes back to Genesis 3:15. Okay, let me just, quick little Bible study here. Genesis 3:15, you've got Adam and Eve in the garden, the first human beings. You got the dragon, Satan over here. You got the pre-incarnate Christ. And he says in Genesis 3:15, the pre-incarnate Christ looks at the dragon and says, your offspring will be at war with the offspring of the woman. The one coming from the woman, the proto-evangelium, will crush your head, you will bruise his heel. Lorenzo, that's the entire biblical narrative.
Who are the offspring?
Well, the offspring of the dragon are the Nephilim. 3 chapters later, the Nephilim. Very clearly, the sons of God saw the daughters of men, took wives, that's plural, went into them. If you shoot me your address, I'll send you a couple of free books over to Japan. One of them is The Cosmic Chess Match. The other one is Countermove, How the Nephilim Returned After the Flood. Basically, it's genetic. It's a seed war between the seed of a dragon and the seed of the woman. Coming from the seed of the woman eventually becomes the Messiah, becomes Jesus. What the dragon didn't get, what nobody on the planet understood, nobody got it. The apostles didn't get it. Satan didn't get it. Mary didn't get it. The apostles, nobody got it.
What did they get?
He becomes death. How can you kill God, Lorenzo?
You can't.
You
It's
can't.
impossible.
But
You can't kill God.
But you do, because the body is. This is where it gets really deep. He's fully God and fully man.
You know what the...
Let me finish. He succumbs to death. The body is in the tomb for 3 days. His spirit and his soul go down to Tartarus,
Sure.
where these fallen angels have been bound and kept for thousands of years. And he looks at them and goes, "You're not getting out. No jailbreak. I just won."
jailbreak.
That's checkmate. The cross is
Right.
checkmate because no one saw it coming. How can you kill God? You can't kill God. Oh, yes, you
kill
can.
God.
But yes, you can.
You know what the funny thing is like my life has taken me to so many of these places. I saw a video recently that had a whole bunch of the Middle Ages paintings of Jesus being crucified. Right? There was a whole bunch of, and all of them, the background is not the background people have been told. Right? I'm just saying there was like a river, and it looked like Istanbul. So that there was minarets, there was this. It's like that part of the world where where Mary supposedly went and died. I remember it was in Turkey. Yeah, I visited. It's one of the ancient sites of the world. There was some monastery there. It's just rubble. Right? And for some reason, there was one summer, LA, and I want to tell you like my own epiphany story. When I was supposed to go to, down south, USA, have fun, party, carnival, all that stuff, and I couldn't. My friend canceled on me. Something happened in his family. And I had a girlfriend at the time who got abandoned in Turkey and said, "You have to come save me." I'm in the middle of a crazy country. Her friend took off with some man. She goes, this was when I was in my 20s. She said, "You have to come down here and make sure I'm okay." So of course, being a man, I did. I dropped everything and I went. And I went to Ephesus and I went to that part of the world and I was in Turkey, which supposedly I've heard Jesus went to. Like I said, these pictures seem to, I share that all the Middle Age painters, all the Italian masters show the crucifixion with people with turbans, with rivers going through it, like very different from what I guess you could say Israel or Egypt looks like today, like desert and that. And I was there and I went through it. I went to Patmos, which was one of the sites where, wasn't it where, I forget what, one of the
That's
apostles.
John the Revelator.
Right, where John the
writes the
Revelator,
book of
and
Revelation.
I was there, like I was in that cave, and I go, "What am I doing here? Like what? Why? Like what? And it all hit me, right? I go, "This is weird. This is strange." Like I've told our readers before, I was raised Jewish. I'm not any religion anymore. But I said, "Okay, that doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense." Now, like, what's going on with my life, right? I had to figure it all out, and all these things seems to have taken me full circle. Like I don't even know why you invited me on your show. To be honest, originally, I'm going to be honest with your audience. I'm going, I'm not a born again, Jesus person. I'm not any of these things. And yet LA wanted to talk to me and I don't know why, but I had a strong feeling to come on and then, to follow up. So we're on today so that I feel that I can get all of this put together, put it into my heart, see what's true and what's not, and find for myself how I can, through my own revelations, let's say, become a good man, even if I'm not exactly on the same path, let's say, as a lot of your followers.
Well, being a Jew, some people out there will differ with me on this, and that's okay.
Well, I'm not, but I was.
Okay,
Yes.
but
so they say, anyways.
Okay, so you're Jewish. You're one of the chosen people. You are. I mean, you're the.
I've been told that. Yes.
You're the seed of Abraham, and what's amazing is there are so many prophecies in the Tanakh, the Old Testament, which talk about Yeshua, his real name, Yeshua, Jesus. Talk about his coming, and so everybody in the first century, in and around Jerusalem. He was crucified in Jerusalem. There's no doubt about that. All the accounts, he's crucified in Jerusalem. Absolutely no doubt. So, yeah, artists will take the turbans, and I get that, the minarets. That's artistic license, yeah. But
I've heard different, but go on.
But the biblical narrative, he's crucified in Jerusalem. That's the whole point. He goes there knowing what's going to happen. He even states it in the gospel accounts. I'm going to Jerusalem, to die. And then when the triumphal entry, let me just throw you something. This will blow you away.
Okay.
As a Jew, as a one-time Jew.
One-time
Jew. So there's this guy, one of the prophets. His name is Daniel. About 2,500 years ago, Daniel's living. He's living in Babylon. An angel appears to him, a messenger, an otherworldly entity, a very strong, unbelievable entity that can manipulate space, time, matter, and energy. These are not cherubic, little rosy faces. These are powerful entities.
Sure.
This angel, this messenger, appears to Daniel, and he says, "Hey, Daniel, here's the deal. From the time the decree goes out to rebuild the temple, there's going to be 77. It's 490 years. Now, when this is going on, Daniel is in Babylon. The temple is destroyed. The Jews are completely, cast off. They're in Babylon. And then this angel says, from the time of the decree, you can read it for yourself in Daniel, it'll blow your mind, to rebuild the temple until Shiloh, till Mashiach, till Messiah comes, will be 77s. It's 490 years. That decree from Cyrus, I believe, is still in a museum in Britain. So here's the deal, and this is what a lot of Christians don't know this. When Yeshua arranges his what's called the triumphal entry, Palm Sunday, when he comes riding in on the donkey, he is fulfilling the prophecy 490 years earlier from Daniel to the second. And he arranges it. He tells one of the disciples, get this. Two of the disciples, he goes, go into the city of Jerusalem. You're going to find a colt which has never been ridden. Get the colt and bring it back. And when the master goes, hey, what are you guys doing with the colt? When the owner of the colt goes, hey, what are you guys doing? Just say, oh, the master has need of it. So these two guys go in. This is like you and me going to the 7-Eleven and there's a brand new Lexus. And we go, yeah, the master's got need of a Lexus. This is the same thing. Okay, in the ancient world, the donkey. They bring the donkey. Jesus gets on the donkey. This is Palm Sunday. And he rides into Jerusalem. And this is what he says. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, I would have gathered you as a hen gathers her chicks. But you did not know the day, the time of your visitation.
Whoa. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, what's funny is I went to an antique market, Japanese antique market. I like to go. For some reason, I went to this table and I went through all kinds of, Japanese statues and pictures and things. And I found a donkey. Very interesting. I literally found a donkey. It's got some Spanish on it. I haven't translated it yet for myself because it was very faded, very old. That's the only thing I brought back. $2, very cheap. A couple of dollars or the equivalent thereof. The only thing I brought back, I had this strong feeling of, and it's downstairs in front of my entrance, surrounded by, some rose petals I found walking. And I put it there. And I don't know why. I said, it's watching my door. It's going to help me. It's going to keep my entrance safe from any unwanted interferences or negative energies that may try and get in and bother my dreams. I've had all kinds of horrible dreams from demons and devils and things over the course of my life. And I need, that kind of protection to make sure I'm happy, healthy, safe, and growing up in my life. I don't know where that is, but it's funny you mentioned that story to me today. Like I said, I see the synergies. I've read all of these books that you mentioned, and the Bible, and the Quran, and the Torah, of course. That I've read I've looked through all of them. It's very interesting to me today to get a chance to share this with you and to hear your perspective and the perspectives of the people that share with you, because I totally appreciate it. And I used to be at odds, even in our last conversation. We're like, oh, what's he talking about? Telling me I can only do it this way and that. But that, nobody knows, but it's been a few months, I guess, since we did it already. And I've, gestated with what you've said, and I've allowed it to get into my soul. I'm going, why not? Allow everything that can help me to grow and to become a better man and to ascend, if you like, to my own definition of how I want to be a good person, living in my heart and helping people out, and being a nice guy.
Lorenzo, nobody can argue with that. I mean,
I know.
It's like you can't argue with that, right? It's a noble aspiration. All I'm saying is that he's fulfilled the prophecies that were in Daniel, the Tanakh, the Old Testament. He filled that to the second. There's nobody else who's done that. And there it is, written thousands of years, hundreds of years before, the event. I mean, surely, it's your book. It's not it's my book too now, but it's your book written by your people.
Jesus was born before the Christians were even around, right? Obviously. He was born Jewish, I guess. That's what they say anyways, or so I've been told.
He's the son of David. There was no
Christians until he came.
Yeah, he was the son of David.
I think in some ways this is a way for all of us to get together, to make a better life, and to understand each other, to realize we all come from the same source. Everyone really does want to have a good life. It's why I started, I'm going to say Lost Soulmate Recovery Services, lostsm.com. The reason I'm promoting it, and I hope it gets out there, is I've had my own experiences that have helped me to grow beyond, because when you care for someone else more than you care for yourself, I think that's when, whether it's Jesus or your wife or your kids, I think that's why people have children. Doesn't really matter, your best friend. It gives you an opportunity to become selfless, to get over your sins, if you like, to get over how you're not a good person, and to help because you have, I would say, an interest in helping and seeing that smile, that love, that beauty grow and to become something better. Like, you look like a nice guy. Like, I appreciate everything you shared and the work you've done and all of this. It's to me, it's an honor to be on this show and to get to talk to your audience. So I thank you so much for giving me that opportunity.
And I think we're going to have to, make this like a series. We'll call it Conversations with Lorenzo. I'm going to go because I like to keep these somewhat short and pithy because, we could go on for hours. I would challenge you to look up that chapter in Daniel and read it for yourself. Read it for yourself. Okay. And then realize that was fulfilled roughly 2,000 years ago when Yeshua comes into Jerusalem. It's to the second. Now, how's that happening, right? It's mind-blowing.
I think we can get out of time, personally.
Well,
obviously, you mentioned, the in Babylon, the strong being that came and didn't live in time. So, perhaps, there's something more and beyond. And I want to get into what happens when you do get to heaven. I'd love to chat about that.
Sure.
Love to chat about these demons, devils, and aliens and things like that. And so I'd be delighted to be on.
We'll do it once a month or something. We have time for that. Before I go, folks, here it is. It's now available. What is the truth? Right there. What is the truth? 9 and 10. It's the last two films in our ongoing UFO film series. It's pretty much of a wrap right there. Now you can get all the DVDs. There's actually 10 of them now. I only have 3 here. Streaming.lamarzulli.net. Folks, it's time to do your homework. There are 10 films. 10 films in the UFO series for $4.99 each. You can stream them and watch it. Streaming.lamarzulli.net. If you want the hard copies, lamarzulli.net. Don't forget Lorenzo's Soulmate link, and John Adam, please put that below. We'll direct some people over that way. Thanks for watching. Be respectful in the comment section. And we're going to start doing this probably with Lorenzo at least once a month. It's great to have, just different perspectives, find out what other people are thinking. Just to make it really clear, I believe in Jesus as my Lord, my Savior, my Redeemer. And I think it's pretty much obvious after all the shows and all the films and books and everything else. Thanks so much for watching. Hit the subscribe button. And remember, there is a super... Go ahead.
One quick thing. The Lost Soulmate Recovery Services is not in Japan. It's all over. Most of our customers are in North America. That's where I'm from. And it's going to be live online. We have all kinds of questions. Maybe you and I can chat more on that another time in LA. I love you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. My heart feels good talking to you. That's all I really care about, to be honest.
God bless you, sir. God bless you. That's it, folks. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, there is the supernatural world that surrounds us. Sometimes it manifests to people like you and me. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Lorenzo.
You're welcome. Talk to you soon.
Yep, you got it.
Officials endeavoring to obtain all flying saucers.
Marcel's own words, it was something that he'd never seen before. Something from another world. In our opinion, Marcel was a patsy.
Just verbal directions, we know what about it.
That his father was telling the truth.
He dead in the eye and he said, it really happened. And he held his hand up just like this. They had 6 fingers, not 5.
He said they looked quite a bit like us.
Do you think your grandfather was a patsy?
100%.
Cover up by the U.S. military.
Do you believe our government has made contact with intelligent extraterrestrials?
I can't discuss in public setting.
Do we have the bodies of the pilots?
Biologics came to some of these recoveries.
He deliberately obfuscated and they lied to the American people.
When the Pentagon decided to lie about what happened at Roswell.
Because standing 6 feet away, this little being about 3.5 foot tall. She said the nurses who were there during the crash, they're now at a convent.
The first book that Randall wrote, and he said to Jess, he said, that's not fiction.
But for everybody, I mean, this is a human thing. It's a worldwide changing, life-changing for everyone.
Was certainly not a weather balloon and not something from this earth.